Where the hell are we right now? Early this morning, Donald Trump launched his coup attempt, the one that we have been warning about. He claimed victory and demanded an end to ballot counting and voting, which had already concluded. It is clear why. If all of the ballots are counted, it does look like Joe Biden will squeak through to be president. He just took Wisconsin minutes ago, which is better than the alternative, of course. But even if Trump is gone, this was hardly a great victory. In fact, it was a big defeat for Democratic leadership. And by the way, a defeat as well for their buddies in the media who kept fantasizing about a blue wave that has never been there. Look at the facts. Given the huge turnout, Joe Biden underperformed Hillary Clinton, but still closed that gap to win Wisconsin because more voters just turned out. But his margins were smaller. And then look at the down ballot. I cannot underestimate how horrifying the down ballot races look. Historically, when Republican approval ratings dip below a certain number, when they are extremely unpopular, Democrats can basically just show up and sweep. In 1992, Democrats swept the presidency, the Senate, and Congress. That was the first Bush. He was unpopular. In 2006, in the midst of the Iraq War, Democrats won back the House. In 2008, when the world hated W, Obama swept in with the Democratic Congress. This was supposed to be one of those years, with a pandemic, with the most unpopular president in history, with an economic crisis, with record presidential turnout. Dems were supposed to sweep, but they didn't. Let's put it this way. If Hillary Clinton ran this year with this turnout and had the same election, the same strategy, and the same margins that she had in 2016, she would have done better than Joe Biden. Seriously. For instance, Nevada, she won Nevada. It's now on the margin of defeat. This is mind-boggling. But now Mitch McConnell still controls the Senate, and Nancy Pelosi lost seats in the House, even in super blue New York State. Swing seats are supposed to be protected in presidential years in New York. The neoliberal Republican-light Democrats got routed big time. Max Rose, he's out. Tom Suozzi, they're out in New York. There are Republicans now representing part of New York City in Congress. This was a huge opportunity booted away by the Democratic leadership. Can we show my tweet from earlier? Pelosi, Schumer, and Biden himself, they failed. And part of this is because of the legacy of the 2010 shellacking, as President Obama called it. We lost the House because Dems took their eyes off of anywhere but big cities and presidential elections. We defunded state Democratic parties, and as a result, legislatures flipped Republican in states that could have or once were Democratic. And that redrew the congressional lines, and that inspired voter suppression laws that we live with today. If only President Obama had recognized the importance of party building, movement building, that spoke to voters hurting after the 2008 economic collapse in which he was brought in to fix. He didn't, and we never adjusted our strategy. And as a result, the last 10 years, working people have heard from the Tea Party and Donald Trump. And the Democrats never showed up. So Biden may win, but once again, in a census year, we may lose another decade. President Johnson lost the South for several generations in exchange for the Civil Rights Act. Obama lost rural and suburban voters for what's going to be looking like 2 decades in exchange for a watered-down employer-based healthcare bill. Extremely unpopular as well. Okay, so where does the movement go from here? Well, let's presume that we aren't all rounded up in the next 48 hours before Biden's ballots are counted and his win is confirmed. And I'm actually not kidding you. The danger that Trump will try to do is what he says is real. What he has been saying has really turned out to be true. And don't underestimate that. He may even try to seize the presidency that he has not won. Last night, major cities across this country were boarded up, and there were more police on the streets of New York City than my activist friends said that they'd ever seen before. So for the next few days, we stand watch against the fascists. But if Biden is able to get the votes counted and take office, our agenda is clear. Number one, Democratic Party needs new leadership now in both houses of Congress and in the party structure. The moderate middle strategy has failed. Neoliberalism is dead. There is no reason why New York loses Democratic seats in a supposed wave year. Number two, the country's needs are as urgent as the day before the election. So we have to carry on the fight for Medicare for all, the Green New Deal, pandemic relief, free college, a living wage, jobs, 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 the right to organize freely and effectively. Now, we are already hearing that the point of this election is that progressive ideas are unpopular outside of big cities. Let's play that Axios clip real quick.
Democrats had all the advantages. They had money, they had media, they had a terrible political environment surrounding Trump, and Trump is either going to lose narrowly or he's going to win narrowly. And by the way, I'm going to get pummeled on Twitter for this. Like, the new left has to understand Biden was probably right about where America was. A lot of liberals wanted him to be a lot more liberal. That's not where the country is when you get outside of the big cities. And that's why Joe Biden, I do think in his rhetoric, was careful and probably did play it right in trying not to scare off people who don't like sort of the liberal establishment and don't like a lot of what they hear necessarily in the media. He tried to thread that needle. Now, I think people are going to question and should question, like, why did he do the four-corner stall for months? People thought it was working, and now it's this close. People will rightly ask, why wasn't he?
Okay, that is absolute crap. It is not what happened. What happened is that Donald Trump did a better job of leading a people's party than the Democrats did. The problem is he is leading in the wrong direction. The country wants what we are proposing, a safer, healthier, fairer, and cleaner world. Florida, that Biden lost, passed a $15 minimum wage by 61% last night. Our ideas are winning. The neoliberal Republican-like candidates are losing in years they're supposed to be protected by the progressive wave that's turning out. We failed to say these progressive policies in a way that galvanized voters, though. This campaign was the anyone but Trump campaign, and it didn't work to mobilize the country down ballot. We were against Trump for sure, but now we need to be clear what we are for. We are the real People's Party. And it is time that we said so. From here on out, there really will be only two things in the middle of the road. That's a Jim Hightower line, if you guys don't know. Yellow lines and failed moderates. His whole line was, two things in the middle of the road are yellow lines and dead armadillos. It's now going to be yellow lines and failed moderates. Thanks for watching and listening to The Nomiki Show. But remember to click like and subscribe on YouTube, and please share on social media. If you're not already a patron, please join us for as low as $5 a month on patreon.com/The Nomiki Show for early and special content. That investment makes a huge difference. We are not corporate media raking in the dough. It's really you guys that are keeping us going. So please consider being a patron. And to our current patrons, thank you so much. We are incredibly grateful to you. We also now have swag. So check us out on thenomikishow.com to get your mugs, your totes, and your stickers.